Hi, this is Garrett with Gwydion Reviews, and it is time for a review of the new Taylor Swift album, The Tortured Poets Department. It's safe to say that Taylor Swift is having a very big decade so far. She's been keeping very busy, not only with her immensely successful Eras tour, her critical and commercial acclaim, and her profile relationship with Kansas City Chiefs star Travis Kelce, but also because she can't stop recording music. If you count the Tortured Poets Department, Taylor has released 5 new albums and 4 re recorded albums since 2019. That is almost King Gizzard levels of insanity. Oh, and she's a billionaire now. Forgot about that. Anyways, the Tortured Poets Department comes at a pretty interesting time in her life, as it was not only made and released at the height of her career, but it came out after a very public breakup with longtime boyfriend Joe Alwyn, as well as after a controversial fling with 1975 frontman Matty Healy. And surprise! On release day at 2 in the morning, Taylor announced that this was a double album featuring 31 songs in the anthology version. For the purposes of this review, I'm only going to talk about the core album, but don't worry, I will talk about the anthology tracks at a later time. So, the Tortured Poets Department. People really don't like this album, huh? Look, I get it. Some people are sick of Taylor, and this album is certainly a retread of previous sounds and themes, specifically the breakup aspects, and there is a larger argument to be made about critiquing the artists themselves instead of the music they make, but that's not something I want to dwell on in this review. All I care about is the music, and the music is okay. This album is fine. It's not her worst, but it is far from her best. Sonically, this album is a cross between Folklore and Midnights, which makes sense as Jack Antonoff and Aaron Dessner are both producers on this project. You get more folk-oriented melodies and instrumentation mixed with Jack's signature bouncy, shimmering, stuttering synths. Sometimes this marriage sounds grand and beautiful, but others, it comes off uninspired, dull, and boring. This goes for the songwriting as well. A lot of these songs are about love and heartbreak, two topics that Taylor is no stranger to. However, there is an underlying bitterness and sorrow on so many of these tracks. Occasionally, this approach can be very compelling. LOML and The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived are both beautiful yet scathing ballads full of highly descriptive, well-realized poetry, with each word sounding like pure venom. Other times, it can be incredibly corny and obnoxious. Look, I know corniness is a part of Taylor's charm. I get it. However, with some of these lines, she goes too far. You left your typewriter at my apartment, straight from the Tortured Poets Department. I think some things I never say, like, who uses typewriters anyway? You smoked, then ate 7 bars of chocolate. We declared Charlie Puth should be a bigger artist. At dinner, you take my ring off my middle finger and put it on the one people put wedding rings on. And my friends all smell like weed or little babies. They shake their heads saying, God help her when I tell him he's my man. I'm having his babies. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. Taylor sounds unhinged on this project. I respect it, but the results are sloppy. But don't worry, like the previously mentioned LOML and The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, there are some highlights. So Long London is a gorgeous and heartbreaking ballad featuring nice harmonies and a great atmospheric synth lead. My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys and But Daddy I Love Him are the 2 biggest bops on the album, and either one of them should be getting the single treatment over Fortnite. Then there's Guilty as Sin, which is easily my favorite song on the album. The vocal melody is like honey, and the entire song has this floating feeling to it that I cannot get enough of. So yeah, the Tortured Poets Department is a mixed bag. I definitely don't hate it, but Taylor has definitely made better. This is one of those albums that is meant to be very confessional and revealing, and this attempt to present herself in this manner tends to get in the way of the songwriting and the instrumentation. In other words, Taylor sounded like she was more interested in airing dirty laundry than she was crafting compelling songs. Even still, it's an okay listen. I enjoyed aspects of this project, but all in all, it's a pretty frustrating experience. 5 out of 10, closer to a 6 than a 4.